KWT slaying.
Salam, my family. Salam, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. If y'all were planning on watching it at Rumble, I forgot to choose the destination for it. So I'm going to go ahead and, if I can, well, I guess I'll do it later. It was supposed to be streaming at Rumble also, but I forgot to set up the destination. I could see if I can do it now. Let me try. If something happened, you're going to know it's because I tried to make changes to the stream. Let's see, because it's already live on YouTube. Let's see. Give it a go. See if it blows up. All right, let's see here. All right. I don't know if it's working or not. Let's see. Well, my fault. Anyway, how y'all doing, fam? Hope y'all blessed and highly favored. We living in the last of the last days, and make sure your house in order. So before we get truly started, do you have your tail shirts and sweatshirts and mugs? Check this out. Strong Street 260, I believe it is. Jedi. Definition is Israelite. Strong Street 260, Hebrew Jedi. Definition in Israelite. Always check over here. It's at giftgivingforall.com. Get your mug. Got some good stuff. Look at that. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is in, and y'all know y'all want that. Look at that. That's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff. If y'all want to support the ministry, you can support it by getting yourself a mug, getting yourself a t-shirt, hoodie, sweatshirt. But a lot of good products, quality products as well. All right. The ones to show y'all the latest stuff. Some of y'all saw some of this, But I really like this new Jedi, right? That's tight. All right. So now that we got the intro out of the way, we got to understand that prophetically wise, prophetically wise, we are, in my opinion, because I always got to say that because, I get the 100,000 beat up videos and some people don't like me talking about it, but I don't care what you think. Some people be like, you go, I just want to hear you teach. I don't want to hear you be talking about other people and the problems and blah, blah. Well, go somewhere else. I'll do me. So here's the thing, right? The scriptures state, Exodus 32:26. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and said, whoever is on Yahuwah's side, come to me. And all the Levites rallied to him. This is the day of decision. Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? I'm talking to the Israelites. I'm talking to the Christians. I'm talking to all of those who claim to know Jesus Christ. Y'all call him that. We call him Yeshua. Some say Yawahashi, right? Bottom line is, whose side are you on? Now, I'm going to tell you, because some of y'all just still living in deception. Israel, a black nation. Yeshua is black. Y'all call him black. Bottom line, do the research. I know you've been deceived. I know you've been lied to. I know that racism really got you in just hooked up. Now, what we're dealing with is people who are caught up in a mass delusion. Oh yeah, most of us was caught up in a massive delusion. And so if you don't realize that we are, living in some precarious times, if you don't realize we're living in some precarious times and that, these are prophetic times, then if you can't see the evil going on around you, it's because you're a part of it. Some of y'all are part of it. Some of y'all claim to be Israelites. Y'all don't understand the times we're living in, and you can't see it. Why? Because you're a part of it. You're hooked in the matrix. You Christians, some of y'all hooked in the matrix. You part of the deception. Now, I know somebody didn't tell you that, but I'm going to tell you. Right? Because the scriptures to me is very, very clear. Very clear. I'm like, okay. I just don't understand how some of y'all can't see some of this stuff. I don't understand how y'all can't see that Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, is really, really, really the United States of America. I don't see how y'all don't understand that, the beast is the New World Order system. Some people call it the United Nations, right? It's this conglomeration of Gentile nations trying to influence and control the world, right? And right now, a particular nation that rides the beast or the world governmental system called Mystery Babylon is America. It's clear. But it's not clear to some of y'all folks because y'all don't do no research. Y'all listen to people. But that's where you stop. See, when you listen to people, it should be the beginning of research, right? If somebody says something, that should be the beginning of your new adventure of research and looking at the Strong's Concordance and looking at history and reading the scriptures and trying to see whether or not those things be so, like the Bereans. But a lot of y'all ain't that way. I had people tell me, I like to go on my rants. But I had people tell me, well, Yakoba, Jerusalem can't really be in Abyssinia. It can't be in Ethiopia because the Red Sea is right there and Arabia is right there. And so when did they cross the Red Sea? Now, those who've been following me know what the answer is to that question or those questions. But, I'm not trying to convince nobody or nothing, and I'm not going to try anymore to do that because here's the thing. The scriptures teach that men will be as rare as fine gold. A lot of people about to be deleted. A lot of people are about to be deleted. I know. You're not gonna believe me because right now you still got food on the table, you got electricity coming in your house, and you still got water pumping in. So you good. But a lot of people about to be deleted. See, when all is said and done, y'all gonna thank me for being honest. I ain't trying to get in your pocket. Now, some of y'all might have an issue with, the shirts and all that stuff, but hey, a lot of people wanted the shirts. I wanted my shirt. I wanted a mug. Other people wanted a mug. They want shirts too. So we made them available. We don't even own the business that's doing it. We just partnering with someone. They're being blessed. We're being blessed. So why not? But I'm gonna have to go back again because I usually have to repeat myself 100 times because some people are new, which is granted. You just showed up, and that's cool. And then you got other people who just don't do no research and got minimal reasoning capacity. So you got to repeat it again. It is what it is. I ain't trying to beat nobody up. No, I'm just saying that's my experience with dealing with some folks. And then some people caught up in deception because you're eating off of multiple plates, which is fine. You can eat off of multiple plates. I'm just saying you need to look at what's in the ingredients of what you're eating. When we cook, when we prepare a meal, we tell you, hey, you know what? There's some salt in here. May not be a lot of salt, but there's some salt, preservative. Then there may be some pepper in there. There may be some garlic in there. There may be some butter in there. They're all natural, organic stuff. But here's what's in there. You need to go find and see if you're allergic to anything that's in here. And you know what is good, but you need to go and do your own research. If y'all can compare and look at the analogy I'm trying to make. But some of y'all just said, that look good and just start eating, but you ain't know you was eating pork. That's how y'all do. Y'all eat off of anybody's plate, which is, I told you that's good, but you need to know what's in the ingredients. So don't think you're going to go to a Chinese restaurant and pork ain't going to be served. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, Ezekiel 37, dry bone. This is where we're at. This is what's happening. We've heard this 100 times. But for the new folks, Valley of the dry bones, the hand of Yahuwah was on me, and he brought me out by the spirit of Yahuwah and set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry. He asked me, son of man, can these bones live? I said, Yahuwah, you alone know. Then he said to me, prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of Yahuwah. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. So they were dead. I will attach tendons to you and make flesh come upon you and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am Yahuwah. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together. Over the last few years, last 3-4 years, whatever, that was a bunch of rattling going on. Hey, we Israel, we woke now, the Negro, the true Jews, and blah, 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 blah. That was some rattling going on. Hey, over the continent, y'all need to wake up too. That was some rattling going on. And the bones came together. So the bones are coming together. This is what we're starting to see, right? The call over there on the continent say, look, we need to be one nation. Africa needs to join together. We need to form the African Union, right? So I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on me, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Now, some of y'all might disagree with this whole thing about this being the African continent and the African people. Well, that's your problem. But understand this, it all lines up, right? All the scriptures line up. They divided my land, right? Joel chapter 3, right? All that stuff, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that. All of it's lining up. Well, let me get going before I get off track. Verse 9, then he said to me, prophesy to the breath, prophesy, son of man, and say to it, this is what Yahuwah says, come, breath from the four winds, and breathe into these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood on their feet, a vast army. This is what's happening now. This is what you're seeing on the continent. This is what you're seeing around the world, the uniting of who you call Africans. No, not the Native American Indian. You don't see them uniting, do you? No, not the Mexicans. You don't see them uniting, do you? But who is the Negro? It's the descendants of slaves. It is the descendants of what you call Africans. Well, I ain't no blink, blink African. That's what some of y'all say. I ain't no African, then you ain't Israel. You ain't Israel. If you ain't no African or of African descent, you ain't Israel. Verse 11, then he said to me, son of man, these bones are the people of Israel. So now we know who the bones are. The ones who slain, these people who are dead. It is the nation of Israel. They say, our bones are dried up and our hope is gone. We are cut off. We are killed. We are slain. Therefore prophesy and say to them, this is what Yahuwah says, my people, I am going to open your graves and bring you up from them. I will bring you back to the land of Israel. This is the awakening happening, and we're about to go home. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you believe. Then you, my people, will know that I am Yahuwah when I open your graves and bring you up from them. I will put my spirit in you, and you will live. I will settle you in your own land. Then you will know that Yahuwah has spoken, and I have done it, declares Yahuwah. One nation under one king. The word of Yahuwah came to me, son of man, take a stick of wood and write on it, belonging to Judah and the Israelites. Associate with him. Then take another stick of wood and write on it, belonging to Joseph, that is, to Ephraim, and all the Israelites associated with him. Join them together into one stick, so that they will become one in your hand. Do you see this happening in the, like I said, the Mexican community? Do you see this happening in the Native American community? Do you see the agenda to unite? Do you see the two sticks trying to join together? Do you see them trying to become one nation? No, but you do see it on the African continent now, don't you? What area had their land divided by their enemies, and the same enemies who scattered them amongst the nations as slaves? Come on now. What land has they been fighting over all this time? Has it been that land in the Middle East? I'm just asking. You know, all these people, all these Gentiles, some of you Israelites waiting for this Armageddon and waiting for, you know, the nations of the world to come against a speck of land over there in the Middle East. But right now, what land they want? They call it the Sahel. We call it sub-Saharan Africa. Why? Because it is the promised land. Why? Because it is the place with multiple rivers flowing through it. Come on now. It is the place that has all of the fruits, all of the animals, all of the gold, all of the bauxite, all of the uranium, which is what France want right now. They don't want nothing in the Middle East now. When we get to Ezekiel 38, and I'm not going to read it today, they're coming to take a spoil. You think it's just the money that we bring back when we go back? No, they're coming to take the gold that's in the ground. They're coming to take the arable land where you can grow very good fruits and vegetables. It's not that hard. Verse 18, when your people ask, won't you tell us what you mean by this? Say to them, this is what Yahuwah says. I'm going to take the stick of Joseph, which is in Ephraim's hand, and of the Israelite tribes associated with him, and join it to Judah's stick. What are they trying to do right now? They're trying to unite across the African continent. I'm going to take the stick of Joseph. That's Joseph, right? Which is in Ephraim's hand. So Ephraim has the authority of the tribe of Joseph, and they're going to unite it with Judah, who has been scattered around the world. Ephraim been persecuted, killed, had their arms cut off over there on the continent, while we were getting our tail beats around the world. Come on now. It's so clear. Come on now. I mean, I don't know why we have to fight over some of this. I think some of y'all have an agenda, and it's not a Yah agenda. I will make them into a single stick of wood, and they will become one in my hand. Hold before their eyes the sticks you have written on, and say to them, this is what Yahuwah says, I will take the Israelites out of the nations. I will take the Israelites out of the nations where they have gone. I will gather them from all around and bring them back into their own land. So we have this call that's happening in Africa for the uniting of our people. At the same time, according to the scriptures, we're going to go home. I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel, not in that little hill you call the Middle East. There will be one king over all of them, and they will never again be two nations or divided into two kingdoms. They will no longer defile themselves with their idols and vile images or with any of their offenses, for I will save them from all their sinful backsliding. And I will cleanse them. They will be my people, and I will be their Elohim. My servant David will be king over them. That's Yeshua. And they will all have one shepherd. They will follow my laws and be careful to keep my decrees. They will live in the land I gave to my servant Jacob, the land where your ancestors lived. They and their children and their children's children will live there forever, and David, my servant, will be their prince forever. I will make a covenant of peace with them. It will be an everlasting covenant. Now, is it a covenant with the church, or is it a covenant with Israel? Come on now. I will establish them and increase their numbers, and I will put my sanctuary among them forever. My dwelling place will be with them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Then the nations will know that I, Yahuwah, make Israel holy when my sanctuary is among them forever. So there's a lot of things going on. And a lot of people, I would say, refuse to see it or can't see, right? That's probably a better statement. There's probably a group of people who just can't see. Now, I do believe, just my opinion, I do believe that there is a group who are COINTELPRO. I do believe that some of these people are agents. That's just my opinion. But what we see happening is the joining of the bones, bones to bones, sinews to sinews, flesh to flesh. The attempt by our people to become one, which is what the scriptures teach in Ezekiel 37, and that they're going to become one in Yah's hand, both the northern and southern tribe, Ephraim and Judah. One nation. Is that happening in the Middle East? I don't think so. Is there any kind of call to unite and return that you're seeing happening in the Middle East? No, I don't think so. Is how many of our people, the only ones you got out there in the Middle East who moved out there, and I think because they probably moved a little ahead of time, is the Demona folks. But other than that, the return is happening on the continent. Why? Because according to Jeremiah 29, we was going to go back to the place we were taken from. Oh, I know some of y'all don't even know that scripture. I know. We talked about it a lot on this channel. That's why I tell y'all watch my videos. We were going to go back to the place we were taken from. Were we taken from the Middle East or taken from West Africa and parts of Central and East Africa? I'm just asking.
I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Africa just shocked the world, and it has massive implications for the United States and for
fair use.
Many of our Western leaders are freaking out right now. I kind of actually enjoy watching them. Victoria Nuland, who of course helped create the war in Ukraine, has gone from DEFCON 5 down to DEFCON 1. over Africa in the matter of weeks.
Fair use, sir.
It's an emergency, and she should be concerned because this stuff is about to hit the fan. The dominoes are starting to fall. And we'll get into the important details here in a second. But first, take a look at this map just published on Friday. These are all of the African nations that have now signed military agreements with Russia. And even a few of those in white are getting ready to partner with Russia as well. Damn, that's a lot of red. Now, we'll come back to that map in a moment. But first, this weekend, we saw dramatic developments, Russian flags raised in the air throughout the continent. First to Niger, the country that started it all. Russian flags everywhere. And according to France 24 news service, the government of Niger has now signed a contract with the Russian Wagner Group for security. And they need it because the coup in Niger has entered the point of no return right now. The people rising up against France, against the United States' influence in that country. The Western powers that have controlled Niger for decades are now being pushed out. And this weekend, the military leaders now say that Niger will no longer be a European colony. And they've demanded that all French soldiers get out now, get out of here, or face the consequences. Why does the United States even have troops in this country in the first place? Well, that's a great question. So get out of here,
You ain't
France.
got to go
Get
home,
out
but
of here,
you got to
United
get the
States.
heck out
You
of
don't
here.
belong here. Over the past few days, the United States started dropping massive amounts of military cargo right near the Niger border with its warplanes. They are getting ready to attack Niger to try to stop it all. But that threat is not stopping the people of Niger. Tens of thousands of people marching in that country this weekend, celebrating their independence and shouting no to foreign military bases, no to poverty, no to the West stealing their uranium, their phosphate, and other minerals. Get out of here now. All of the ambassadors' offices to the Niger Republic Mission Service, the United States, France, Nigeria, and Togo have all been terminated. All of their offices are now officially shut down by the Niger government. The head of the military just made this announcement. So other African nations are now showing their support for Niger and starting to say the very same thing. Get out of our country. This weekend, the people in Senegal rising up against Western colonial governments controlling their country. The CIA, MI6, and other Western intelligence services are doing whatever they can right now, spinning their wheels, trying to hold on to power in these countries with their puppet governments. The people in West Africa are fiercely anti-American imperialism. So it wasn't a surprise then to see the country of Guinea announce they are supporting Niger as well.
La République de Guinée réaffirme par ce communiqué sa vision panafricaniste en apportant sa solidarité à la population nigérienne.
This is massive. Colonel Douglas McGregor says the people who've had their minerals stolen for years are saying enough is enough. Get out of my country.
The Africans are fed up with it. And so this is an example in Niger where a supposedly U.S.-backed government with a U.S.-trained military suddenly turned around and said, I think all of you white people need to get out of here. We've had it with you. Go away. Go, Europeans, leave.
Again, we'll get around to the uranium and gold part of this story in a moment, which is arguably the most important part of this story. But first, a story that no one's talking about is the massive pipeline that is nearly set to go online. Now, it starts in Nigeria. It flows through Niger on its way up into Europe. Chevron, the United States, have already invested $13 billion into this pipeline. And guess what, guys? After the Nord Stream pipeline destruction, Chevron stepped up production to get this up and running. Hey, we'll speed this up. We'll fast track this. And now the people of Niger are saying, wait a second, why are we going to allow a pipeline to flow right through our country so Europe can have natural gas? You are doing nothing for us. You continue to steal from us. Sorry, no more pipeline. This is why Europe is terrified this morning. The United States already blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, put their own pipeline into action in Africa. Smart business move, right? Well, we'll just blow up the competition. Imagine Walmart doing that to Target stores. Yeah, we're just going to blow up those stores. Now you got to shop at Walmart. And now Niger is saying, hey, sorry, you're not going to use our country to transport your natural gas into Europe. Get out of here. So Europe is facing catastrophe with no Nord Stream pipeline coming from Russia any longer. And now the threat of this pipeline being shut down through Africa.
So this is the time that the line is being drawn in the sand. And the Israelites, whether you go by Black, African American, Kemet, whatever you go by, you have a choice to make. Whose side are you on? You have a choice to make. Who are you supporting? Who are you praying for? Ain't no more Jew Greek. Yeah, but they still see you as a ninja. Ain't no more Jew Greek. Yeah, but they still got programs to delete you. Oh, you didn't know that. I know. You don't believe it either. I told y'all in other shows, I said the reason for the war against Russia is to get to Africa. That's the real reason. Y'all thought it was about Ukraine. No. As Putin said, Ukraine ain't nothing but a battering ram used by the West. But why? Why all the fighting? Where's the peace? Peace, love, peace. All we want is peace. Where's peace? Peace. But there is no peace. Ain't gonna be no peace till they get their hands on that treasure chest called Africa. Why you think they're promoting alphabets? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, L, M, N, O, you know. Because they want to make sure that in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years ain't no growth on the continent. You can't reproduce if Billy hang with Bob. You can't reproduce if Susie hang with Betty. Because see, giving that free stuff, I'm going to say it that way, giving that free stuff on the continent to help you fight off sickness wasn't working as good as they thought. Remember what they did to the Ethiopian people in Israel? They did the same thing on the continent. Wasn't working too well because, as Pharaoh said, well, the midwives, they say Israelites, I'm going to say them Negroes produce too quick. They got like 3, 4, 5 wives and they pumping them babies out real quick. Pharaoh say, well, take out the firstborn son, take out the son, take out the boys, leave the women. Same thing today. You Negroes produce too quick. We can't have that, so we're going to make y'all like alphabets. You Negroes produce too quick. We're going to make y'all like, not the opposite, if y'all know what I'm saying. Man, we had the Margaret Sanger project called the Black Project. That ain't worked too well either, man. We can't just get rid of these Negroes. They baby's kid. It's all about you. Y'all think it's not. Some of y'all so foolish. Some of y'all so foolish. Ain't nobody after the Negro. That's in your mind. Ain't nobody trying to take y'all out. That's in your mind. They might be taking you out to dinner, but that's about it. Can we say raccoons? Now, I'm going to share a clip from a video. And I'm going to say shout out. Shout out to Swahili Nation. Y'all need to support that brother. That's a young brother on the continent. I believe he's from Kenya or Tanzania, one of them. I'm not sure which one. And I think it's Tanzania. And that brother, he's fighting for the unity. He's fighting for those two sticks coming together. Oh yeah, he's a bold brother. I'm telling you. Yeah, Tanzania. I'm telling y'all, Israel woke, and Israel ain't going back to sleep. Keep playing if you want. Keep thinking none of this have to do with prophecy. Keep following the old Eurocentric theology that there's going to be a rapture. Keep following the timeline that Yeshua is going to come back and take us back right now, and he's going to destroy the Antichrist. We're going to go back, and we're going into the millennium. That's not where we're at on the timeline. Well, where are you, Kobo? Go watch my videos. Got a whole bunch of end time prophecy videos.
Oh, sorry, you were muted. Let me see it. Okay, you're good now.
Okay. Thank you. It's nice to be back. Wow. Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's out there for watching this station, because I absolutely love my son. Yeah, all of my sons and daughters. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to put something out there that may be top secret, but after I got over crying and pain of the thought of an invasion, I thought about this. But first of all, I know Nigerians are very intelligent. I know Africans are very intelligent. And so I had to look beyond a possible attempt of war from Nigeria. This could be top secret, because I also know that Africans, especially Nigerians, we have our way of not showing the real picture, because we're going underground with something. And I don't think ECOWAS ever truly was going to attack Nigeria. I believe that it was a way to soften France and the rest of them. We have to do those things. These are top secret, but we have to do those things just to calm, the man-mades down. And so we can go ahead and do our thing among us. I really don't think that they were going to attack our brothers. I don't, because it's too many of our brothers and sisters over there. The border, I think, is 90 miles or more. The border is just too big there between Nigeria and Niger to be enemies. It's, they cross back and forth without a passport or without a visa, I'm sure. So I have to look at it like that. I have to look at the intellect of our brothers and sisters that's in ECOWAS, if there's any sisters there, because I just don't believe that they would have done that. It was a facade for somebody else, until they could build a rapport. Because one thing about Africans, they believe in each other. And okay, let's talk. Let's find out exactly what's going on. Although they already knew, I'm sure, what's going on. Because let's face it, the presidents around Africa, they know one another. And they know what's happening in their family of their country. They know. And I'd like to think that it was already set how it was going to go down. And I'm so proud of them. And I just hope they keep working. So don't be mad at them, you know, because they are intelligent. They wouldn't be where they are without some type of intelligence. Sometimes our brothers slip into that money bag, but they have intelligence and they know what they're doing. They didn't invade, right? Not yet. And I don't think they will. I don't think they will. But we stand beside you.
Yeah.
So I agree with her. I don't think they're going to invade because Nigeria had a working relationship and their militaries trained with each other, right? Nigeria and Niger, they trained with each other. So it's like, you're going to go over there and take out your own brothers for who? The West? Is you out your cotton picking mind? You going to go kill some of your own people for the French? After what they've done to y'all all these years, is you out your cotton picking mind? It's not going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean the French and the U.S. not going to try to go in. But I predict, while the curses were on us and they won during the scramble for Africa, it ain't going to work this well this time. Oh, no. There's going to be a lot of deleted people on the mountains of Israel, sub-Saharan Africa. I was talking to my brother. Now, don't take this as no prophetic thing. I just find it curious. And we were having a conversation. And I said, yeah. I said, I think there might be another coup d'etat. I say, especially if they go against Niger. It may not happen if they don't go against Niger, but I said, I think there could be another coup d'etat. And he was like, yeah, me too. I said, yeah, but the nation that I got in mind, I guarantee you probably don't, you don't think it's who I think it is. He said, okay. I said, well, who do you think might have a coup d'etat? Because I said, I guarantee you, we ain't thinking the same thing. He said, okay, I'll tell you who. And he said the exact same nation I was thinking of. Now, whether that's prophetic or not, I don't know. But who were we, excuse me, who were we referring to? Nigeria, the biggest African military. It don't look like Nigeria would support the Pan-Africanist movement because they all up into France like that. And they all up in the West. But I found it strange that we said the same thing. And we both said, yeah, it was a word. It was like a revelation in the spirit. So I talked to one of my Facebook friends and I told her this. And you know what she said? She said, wow, I had the same thought. And she said it was like the spirit told me. Take it for what you will. But if they go in there and they try to mess with Niger, they're not coming out unscathed. They're not coming out unscathed. Now, some of you all remember this. I talked about this in a previous show. The Russian Duma has passed draft laws. We are putting in the works for general conscription. A great war is just around the corner. Poland is the target. Hold on one sec. A great war. There's a lot of maneuvering going on. Global conflict scenario. 11 Russian and Chinese ships with massive firepower in battle formation off the U.S. coast of Alaska. This recently happened. Give me a 1 if you heard about this, 2 if you didn't. Okay, a lot of people heard about it. Might be 50-50 maybe, or 60-30. Russia and China launched a joint naval operation against the U.S. by sending 11 warships with massive firepower in a battle array off the U.S. coast in Alaska. Apparently, the Russian and Chinese launched a virtual attack on American bases. According to the Americans, this is the largest naval force of the two countries that has ever approached American shores. Everybody's choosing sides, whose side you're on. The joint Russian-Chinese flotilla departed Vladivostok on July 27, patrolled near Japan, then sailed through the La Perouse Strait from the Sea of Japan to the Sea of Osk of July 28 to 29. 10 of the ships were destroyers, frigates, and corvettes of the Russian and Chinese navies, namely the RFS Admiral Patalevayev and RFS Admiral Tributs. The corvettes RF, so forth, I'm going to skip those names. This fact forced the Americans to send 4 Arleigh Burke destroyers to mobilize the Air Force and even P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft. Specifically, the U.S. Navy sent USS John S. McCain, USS Benfold, USS Chung Hoon, and USS John Finn. On July 19, Russians and Chinese started the joint naval exercise. Apparently, this exercise has been extended to Alaska.
Dean, to you, what is the message that Russia and China hope for America to take away from their unprovoked actions over the weekend?
I think they're sending multiple messages. One of them is look at the capabilities that the two countries have that they're willing to coordinate together. But another is if you, the U.S., are going to operate in the Black Sea near Russia, if you're going to operate in the South China Sea near China, hey, we can do the same thing. We can operate in the Bering Straits, and I would expect in the future to see them operating off of, say, California or Washington State. So,
Dan, I don't have to tell you, this didn't happen in a vacuum. They're buzzing, Russia and China are buzzing our planes and our drones, sometimes taking them down. They're cutting off our destroyers as we go in through international waters. And we basically have had no response. Again, what is our response?
Right. I think first, one thing I would just add to this brazen Russian-Chinese projection of power against us is there's a real domestic component here. Vladimir Putin has spilled an inordinate amount of blood and treasure in Ukraine and is suffering from real serious problems domestically. And this is a way for him to show that that Russia can go toe-to-toe with its main enemy, the United States, in conjunction with their ally, China. Russia wants a limitless partnership. We know there are limits.
So the question is this muscle flexing, or is this just preparation for the final confrontation? That's the question. U.S. Navy destroyers were dispatched after Russian and Chinese warships conducted patrols off the coast of Alaska. Reports on the growing tensions between the U.S., China, and Russia.
Now to the growing tensions between Russia, China, and the United States. ABC News confirms the U.S. dispatched multiple Navy destroyers and an aircraft after tracking Chinese and Russian ships near the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. Alaskan Senator Dan Sullivan calling that foreign patrol unprecedented in size. Let's bring in ABC's Ike Ajachi in Washington for us. Ike, what more are you learning tonight?
Lindsay, the United States taking swift action, sending 4 U.S. Navy warships to the Aleutian Islands after senators said 11 Russian and Chinese ships came close to American waters. Now, officials say those foreign ships were on patrol in international waters conducting a joint naval exercise.
Now, what does the scripture say is going to happen? Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. See, this isn't just muscle flexing. It's like I try to tell y'all. You have to look at the different pieces that make up the picture puzzle. You can't look at one piece and say, oh, I understand what's happening. You have to look at what has been happening over the years and the progressive increase in intensity. Now, Africa is involved in this. What do you think is going to happen? Because here's what you don't understand. I'm going to say many of y'all, or some of y'all, let's put it that way. Some of y'all don't understand. There is no West without Africa. There's no France without Africa. There's no U.S. without Africa, because they cannot get the uranium. Well, they could get it, but they'd have to get it from Russia. But they can't get what they need for the cell phones, for the computers, for modern Western civilization without Africa. Africa is a necessary resource. They're not going to let Africa go without a fight. Hast thou come to take a spoil? Well, yes. France can't let Niger go. If France let Niger go, France gonna look like Niger. The difference is that the Most High is involved now. What they could get away with in the 1845 or 1885, whenever the scramble for Africa occurred, what they got away with then, they can't get away with now, because the Most High is smiling on his people. The Most High says, in the days of these 10 shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom that shall never end. What 10? Well, the 10 hasn't fully formed yet. It's forming. It's called BRICS. BRICS is one of the 5 toes. The U.S. Navy sent 4 destroyers to the coast of Alaska last week in response to an unprecedented joint operation between China and Russia, including nearly a dozen warships that were spotted in nearby international waters. 11 Russian and Chinese warships off American coast in Alaska. A combined Russian and Chinese naval force ventured off the coast of Alaska earlier this week in what U.S. experts said appeared to be the largest such flotilla to approach U.S. shores. It's a message to the U.S., of course. But the U.S. ain't back down off of Ukraine. You think they're going to back down now? No. See, here's something many of you all don't realize, because I don't cover a lot of stuff because there's too much. But NATO has been building up military in Europe and as well as on the borders of Poland and Latvia. There's a lot of things going on in coordination with this. Putin has called for more conscription, which means a lot of young guys are going to have to fight. So if what we see on the news media that, hey, some news media say Russia's winning the war, some say it's Ukraine's winning the war, but the war is still happening. And resources are still being sent to Ukraine. Who's winning the war? Well, I know who's winning. But it doesn't look like it's going to stop. It's a historic first, said Brent Sadler, a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and retired Navy captain. Given the context of the war in Ukraine and the tension surrounding Taiwan, this move is highly provocative. See, a lot of people ain't talking about Taiwan either. If you're a chess player or a person who can look at things abstractly, you will realize that Russia is fighting to control their territory and the encroachment of NATO, and China is trying to control their territory and the encroachment of NATO, and they also want to take over Taiwan. And if China were going to take over Taiwan, is it easier for China to take over Taiwan by themselves and not help Russia? Or do they align themselves with Russia while they're fighting their enemy? Obviously, it's better for them to align now and both of them to handle their situation together as opposed to handling their situation separately. So therefore, they're doing these exercises right now together because we are going into a world war. We are already in World War III. You just haven't seen the arrows. Now, this is another, excuse me. This is another story. This is another story that I covered in one of the previous shows. South Korea says nationwide civil defense drill, citing North's provocation. As tensions with North Korea spike, South Korea will hold its first nationwide civil defense drill in 6 years. Later this month, requiring most of the country's 51 million residents, most of that country's 51 million residents to practice evacuating to shelters or underground safe spaces during the 20-minute exercise. Maybe it's an exercise, maybe not. There's a lot of things coming to a head during the time of the end of August and the beginning of September. The drill scheduled for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, August 23rd, will see many drivers required to pull over to the side of roads and the exits to subway stations closed, with commuters required to remain inside. A statement from the South Korean Interior Ministry said, "We expect to strengthen the response capacity of the nation through a practical drill reflecting the aspects of provocations of North Korea," Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said in a news release this week. The release said the 20-minute drill is part of a larger exercise to test the South Korean government's response to potential threats, including advanced nuclear missile threats, cyber attacks, drone terrors, etc. The prime minister also called on South Koreans to take the drills seriously, something that hasn't always been the case. Now, why now? Why take it seriously now? Why have 51 million of your citizens to participate in it? Do you really have to have 51 million of your citizens to participate in it unless you expect something that's going to happen soon? Now, whether anything happened during that time or not, I mean, point being is there's an exercise to get the citizenry ready to go to nuclear fallout shelters and to take cover. I'm just saying, at the same time, you just had a global, it's called global conflict, right? But you had Russia and China sending those 11 military ships close to Alaska. I'm just saying, right? And now, let's not forget, and I already mentioned the conscripts, right, for Russia. But what about the fact that Biden is also calling for some of the servicemen to come on board, right? Some of our people who have retired and who are on call. I forgot what they call those guys who reserves. That's it. Military reserves and others to be ready. Why? Why do they have to be ready? Now, they also was talking about, forcing some women to start joining and, forcing you all to sign up and become part of the selected service. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe it don't mean nothing. Maybe these aren't the droids we're looking for. I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff happening all at the same time. Wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, pestilence in diverse places. I'm just saying, whole bunch of stuff happening all at the same time. But they're going to tell you ain't nothing to worry about. Tell ministry is frightening you. Their fear ministry. Don't listen. Well, don't listen. While India decided to cut back on the export of their rice. Why? Because they want to make sure if war happens, their people have enough rice. So what do I think is happening right now? What do I think is happening right now? This is what I think. Now, I think, before I get into it, there's partial fulfillments in scripture, right? And there's the beginning of judgment all the way to the complete fulfillment of judgment. So you have to read the scriptures in that light. So I'm going to say that just so what I'm going to say might make some sense to some of y'all. Joel chapter 3. This is what I think is happening. Joel chapter 3. In those days and at that time when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, right? Remember, the Most High says he's going to raise us from our graves and he's going to bring us back to our land and he's going to restore our fortunes, right? Ezekiel 37, right? So the Most High says, in those days and at that time when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Now, a lot of people say, well, the valley of Jehoshaphat is Armageddon. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that, just my opinion, I don't have to be right. I believe that when the Most High says, I will gather all nations, right, and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, it's the valley of decision, right? We see that later on as we read the scriptures. Well, what does that mean? The valley of decision, right? Because everybody got a choice to make whose side you on. I believe what's going to happen is just what happened to the Moabites and the Edomites when they were trying to come against Israel during the time of Jehoshaphat. This is the time of Yah's judgment. And I believe that they're going to fight each other. I don't think, just my opinion, I don't think Israel, whether on the continent or in the diaspora, going to have to do much fighting. Now, there might be a little fighting, but I don't think Israel is going to be the major protagonist in this situation. I think they're going to be fighting each other, just like the Moabites started fighting the Edomites. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, that's you, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. They cast lots for my people and traded boys for prostitutes. They sold girls for wine to drink. So can I rephrase that a little bit? There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations as slaves, right? We see that other places all over the Bible, right? As slaves, taken captive. This is why Yah is judging them. He put the banner up. The banner is up for a call to war. He says, I will gather them to the valley of Jehoshaphat. It's the time of decision. It's the time of judgment. It's the time for these nations to pay for what they've done to us. And they're going to fight each other. This is what I believe. Verse 4, now what have you against me, Tyre and Sidon and all you regions of Philistia? Are you repaying me for something I've done? If you are paying me back, I will swiftly and speedily return on your own heads what you have done. For you took my silver and my gold and carried off my finest treasures to your temples. Let's stop right there. Did they not take all of our stuff and bring our gold to UK and to France and put our artwork in their museums and all that stuff? I'm just saying. You sold, see now we're dealing with captivity and being sold. You sold the people of Judah and Jerusalem to the Greeks that you might send them forth from their land. Now, understand this. When we look at Zechariah chapter 1 is talking, as we go further down, about the 4 carpenters. And one of the carpenters is doing his job right now. He's getting the Pan-Africanists to unite against the colonizer, against the horns that scattered Israel and Judah specifically. To me, it all makes sense and it all lines up. See, I'm going to rouse them out of the places to which you sold them. Are y'all not being roused? Are y'all not like fed up? I didn't see Israel like say, I'm done with this mess. Look, it's either us or them. I'm just saying, that's what I'm seeing. I ain't for no, I gotta say this. I ain't for no violence now. I gotta say this. I ain't saying you should be violent. No, I'm just saying I've seen some changes. See, I'm going to rouse them out of the places to which you sold them, and I will return on your own heads what you have done. I will sell your sons and daughters to the people of Judah, and they will sell them to the Sabaeans, a nation far away. Yahuwah has spoken. Now I'm going to come back to this. I just find things really interesting, right? What's happening today. And many of you all are familiar with this, obviously. But I'm going to show this little clip here. Now, many of you all saw that fight, right? But Israel ain't taking no mess no more, man. I'm sorry, the memes that are going out for that had me dying laughing, right? The memes are off the chain, but I think that little clip is very provocative in the sense that Israel, like we're coming together, we're uniting. You see it on the continent, right? Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, Niger, And so just as we saw here, them brothers got off that ship and was like, no, 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 no. Oh, yeah, and let's not talk about Aquaman, that 16-year-old kid who jumped off that ferry and swam over there. I'm like, shout out to that brother. But my point being is that these times, they be different. They're different because there's a recognition of unity and family. There's a recognition of tribal ancestry. There's a recognition of identity. You see it on the continent and you see it here around the world. It's the lines being drawn on the side, in the sand. The lines being drawn in the sand. Everyone has a decision to make. Like I say, you're going to have some of them raccoons holding on to massa. Somebody else going to have to come up with that whip. Massa, we sick? I know some of y'all don't like that because some of y'all like, oh, we got to get along. We got to get along. Love, 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 love. When you're actively being genocided, when you're actively have laws being passed against you for ruling yourselves, when you're actively being forced to eat lab-grown meat. I'm like, some of y'all just don't see the danger that we're in. I mean, literally, it's going to be very difficult to survive these few years. But that's their goal. It's World War III, but it's on us. I know it's affecting other nations, but we're the target. See, that's what you don't realize. We've always been the target. The technology against the aliens and the UFOs is because of us. The promotion of the alphabets is because of us. If you can't see that, something wrong with you. You caught in the matrix. You can't see evil because you're part of it. Some of y'all want to unite with evil. That's the problem. Evil say, judge not, lest ye be judged. We all should get along because we're Israel. I told you, I don't try to get along with people just because they say they're Israel. Some of them are perverted. Some of them doctrine is faulty. They deny the Messiah. I'm not trying to get along with you because you claim to be Israel. I want to get along with you because you serve Yahuwah. You serve Yeshua. That's who I get along with. Those who love the Most High and love the family. That's who I'm with. I ain't trying to get along with you because you claim to be Israel. Verse 9. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for war. Rouse the warriors. Let all the fighting men draw near and attack. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weakling say, I am strong. Come quickly, all you nations from every side, and assemble there. Why? Because we want your gold. We want your uranium. We want your oil. We want your arable land. We want your food. And we don't want y'all on that land. Take our lollipops because we want y'all off that land. Learn your alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because we don't want y'all to reproduce. We want y'all off that land. Let the weakling say, I'm strong. Come quickly, all you nations from every side. Why? Because you got something we want. Oh, they're gonna surround Israel. They're gonna go to the Middle East and they're gonna surround them and they're gonna attack them. For what? Y'all's dirt, your dust, your sand. Oh, we coming just to go because we don't like you people, so we gonna surround y'all. Oh, really? We gonna invest all that military for what? For the Middle East? For some oil? But Africa has oil, gold, silver, bauxite, uranium, you name it, on and on to the break of dawn. Fresh, clean water, rivers, trees, animals, arable land. What I'm going in the Middle East for? For what? Bring down your warriors, Lord. Let the nations be roused. Let them advance into the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit to judge all the nations on every side. When they attack Africa, they're not going to make it out. When they attack Africa, they're not going to make it out. Swing the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come trample the grapes, for the winepress is full, and the vats overflow. So great is their wickedness. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. Everybody has to make a decision today. The line has been drawn. The line has been drawn in the sand. Whose side you on? We've been teaching this stuff for years, and it's coming to pass. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. The world is at the brink of decision. You can see it. You can feel it. Every nation, every country, North Korea, China, Israel, Britain, Poland, France, the U.S., Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, China. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. Come, you nations. The sun and moon will be darkened and the stars no longer shine. Now, isn't it very interesting that the sun and the moon will be darkened? And the Most High says in the beginning that he's coming to get us and to judge them. In the beginning of Job chapter 3, he's coming to get us and he's coming to judge them. But yet the sun and the moon are going to be darkened and the stars no longer shine. Tie that back to Isaiah 60, rise and shine, for your light has come. For darkness covers the earth and gross darkness the people, right? All coincidence? Yahuwah will roar from Zion and thunder from Jerusalem. The earth and the heavens will tremble, but Yahuwah will be a refuge for his people, a stronghold for the people of who? Israel. Of the world? No. Of the church? No. Israel. Why? Because he's coming for his people. What? Israel. Why is he coming for his people? Well, they told you in the beginning, because y'all done sold them for slaves. Blessings for God's people. Then you will know that I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, dwell in Zion, my holy hill. Is that not what we saw in Ezekiel 37? Jerusalem will be holy, never again will foreigners invade her. In that day, the mountains will drip with new wine and the hills will flow with milk. All the ravines of Judah will run with water. All the ravines. How many ravines in the Middle East and running with water? A fountain will flow out of the Lord's house and will water the valley of Acacias, but Egypt will be desolate, Edom a desert waste, because of violence done to the people of Judah, in whose land they shed innocent blood. Judah will be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem through all generations. Shall I leave their innocent blood unavenged? No, I will not. Why? Because they didn't cut off their limbs for some rubber trees and sold chocolate of cut off hands in the Netherlands. What else did they do up here? They divided my land. Can we say the scramble for Africa? They ain't divide up the Middle East. That little piece of dirt out there in the Middle East, they ain't divide that up. They ain't even care about it till it was time to come up with that fake location. But we all know about the scramble for Africa, don't we? They divided up my land. The place you were scattered from, you gonna return to is what? Africa. Come on now. Don't tell me the Middle East our land. You must be out your cotton picking mind. Now we saw that Israel is going to be uniting, and Israel is going to be scrapping with these Gentiles. This is what I think we saw in Alabama. It's the beginning of another fulfillment of a prophecy, in my opinion. And I've talked about this before. The remnant of Jacob will be among the nations in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the beasts of the forest, like a young lion among flocks of sheep, which maws and mangles as it goes, and no one can rescue. Is that not what it looked like we saw in Alabama? Them boys jumped off that ferry and was like, no Karen, no Bob. I don't know what they call it, them folks. But I know the Karen. Oh, no, them brothers jumped off. Them brothers went straight forward. Oh, you going to put your hands on that brother? Y'all going to jump him like that? No. Oh, no, we're not going to let that slide. I told you these are different times. You Negroes be militant. What the passive Negro that I used to see? Where's the passive Negro? Yeah, sir. Here's my other cheek, sir. Can you hit the left cheek too, sir? Can you kick me in my shin, sir? I won't do nothing to you, sir. Because I'm supposed to turn the other cheek, sir. Taken out of context. Yeah, y'all go make videos of this. Taken out of context. Israel like, oh, you want some of this? I got it for you if you do. Micah 5:8. You want some of this? I got something for you if you do. I told you, here's the thing. Y'all don't believe me. We are at war. Either we survive or the enemy survive. I don't know who the enemy is. I'm going to say it like that. But this is where we're at. This is where we're at. And some of y'all don't know how dire the situation is. Did you see what happened over the last few years, what they've done? And you're the target. Well, Jacoby, other people got hurt too. You're still the target. They don't care about whether or not other people get caught up in the strife. What's the word, family, when they say when you're in the midst of a battle and other people get injured? What's the word? It's slipping my mind right now. I don't know why it's slipping my mind right now. Collateral damage. Thank you, Rising Moon. Collateral damage. They don't care about collateral damage. But there's some of their people, they don't care because they want your land and they want you off it and they don't want us to go back home. They say you Negroes need to go back to Africa. You think they really gonna let you go back to Africa? If we go back to Africa, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna be taking all the resources and making things with it and selling it. We're gonna be building big hotels and homes and sprawling estates. You think they want us to go back to Africa with all that wealth? Africa is literally a treasure trove. The Bible talks about a parable, and you know, I know it doesn't have to do with this, but I'm gonna make a point. That a pearl of great price, and if it was buried in there in the land, and you found out it was there, you would buy the whole land, right? Because it's that pearl of great price. Well, Africa's a pearl of great price. Africa has all the gold, uranium, bauxite, the stuff they use for the cell phones, diamonds, water, arable land, fruits, vegetables, you name it. It is the wealthiest place on the planet, and you think they don't care about that? You think, why you think they did the scramble for Africa? Because they were stealing your wealth. The only problem is too many of you Negroes. Couldn't get all of y'all off the land because y'all reproduce too quick. These people know this. You don't. Like I said, Israel is awakening. Israel is awakening. Israel is coming together. Israel is uniting. Israel said enough is enough. Israel says you want these hands, you got it. Israel says you step on my toe, I'm going to step on yours. Israel says, I ain't turning the other cheek because you ain't a brother. You ain't a neighbor. You wicked. You don't turn your other cheek to the devil, do you? If the devil hit you on the cheek, you going to turn it to him and give him the other one? If the devil do stuff to you, are you going to let him keep doing stuff to you so you could pour heaping coals on his head and the devil going to feel real bad because you were so nice to him while he was persecuting you? No, that only works for people who you have a relationship with, and y'all end up having a disagreement who they call your enemy. And so then y'all end up making up because you'd be like, well, you know, I was messing with Jacoba like that, but Jacoba still gave me some food and some water, you know, so I feel some kind of way. That's people with a moral conscience in the heart, not with the wicked who've been seared with a hot iron. Don't make no sense. That's Eurocentric Christianity, Catholic stuff to keep the slaves in line. But once again, I'm going to shout out again to Swahili Nation, because the little brother doing some work. You got to give a shout out to him. He doing the work. I'm impressed. Young little dude, or young man. But I'm gonna play the little part because you'll see.
Because of what we're talking here today. And if you do not understand that, I mean, all the evidence are out there.
They're not afraid of black consciousness. Now, for those of you who are listening, don't get offended. Please listen and hear my heart, okay? They're not afraid of black consciousness. If by black consciousness you mean that we recognize that we are all black people, we are all Africans. That doesn't frighten them. You know what frightens them? Is knowing who we are and doing something about it. And know where we come from and doing something about taking responsibility for its development, and that's Africa. We can be as conscious as we want, but if we do nothing about it,
yes,
they will let us
we're
go.
safe.
will let us talk. They will let us talk and talk and talk. What you are calling for, what I've heard you call for, what people like Ronald Dalton Jr., right, Hebrews and Hebrews, what he's calling for. People like you have Jacoba and Theo for Theo Ministries. You have people like Pastor Stephen Darby. You have people like Dante Fortson, right? You have people like Benaiah Israel. I don't know if any of these names you've heard before. Some of them you've heard.
I did.
Okay, great. And there are others that are unknown. People who have just been under the radar, right? For decades, literally, that people don't know about. When we decide to do, and it has started. We've decided to start to do, but all of us have to do it. We have to do it together. We can't come and do it. You can't do it by yourself. We have the two sticks have to come together. Okay, we're not talking religion. And when we come together, that's what they're afraid of. That's why they killed Malcolm X. That's why they killed Martin Luther King. That's why they killed Gaddafi. And he wasn't even indigenous, he was an Arab. But he was doing some good. Okay, great good. And he was going to mess with their banking system. And they said, no, we have to get rid of this guy. Okay? We can call names. We can go very close to home. We'll leave that one alone for other reasons. My point is this. Black consciousness should lead us to self-identification. And self-identification by necessity must lead us to action. Because when you identify yourself and you know who you are and you know what has happened to you, then you realize that Africa is not going forward unless Africans take it forward.
Absolutely.
Until Africans return to the ancient path. And take ownership over where we are and where we need to be. Nobody's coming to do it for us, my brother. Nobody's coming to do it for us. Please, if you remember anything we say, remember this. No one is coming to give you the Africa you want. They're coming to build the Africa they're going to take from you. And you have the ability. You have it. But if you don't know who you are, you will not know what your purpose and destiny is.
The fight for liberation and for Africa did not stop after independence. It actually began after independence.
Because the independence we think we have, we never really had.
We don't have it.
It was just a stepping stone. We were
don't have
supposed to, but we allowed. You know, brother, I would say this about this alphabet agenda. So they want to reduce the population. They want to stop us from. But why? See, again, this is the what. They're doing. But let's talk about why. Okay. Do you know that based on the birth rate of Africans, they like to use the term Black Africans. Now, that's a problematic term. But the population rates across the board in sub-Saharan Africa and the African diaspora, in spite of abortion, in spite of the bad quality of the food, in spite of everything, we are growing to the point where in 2045 we will be 25% of the world's population. If nothing else changes. I say it will be more because of what they did for the past 3 years. Okay, we're going to be much higher than 25. But based on their estimates before their agenda started 3 years ago, the population is projected to be 1 in 4 persons walking the face of this earth will be African, sub-Saharan African.
That reminded me also.
But yeah, and then 2100, they're saying they're going to be 40%. I want to ask a question. Do you, listening or watching, believe that those people are comfortable with those statistics?
Not at all.
And that's the why for what they're doing and have been doing. So if we do nothing, if we don't sanction ourselves, and by that we mean just imagine that we don't have any friends. We don't have anybody to look to come and help save us poor Africans. We're not poor.
We're never poor.
If we don't get to the place where we realize that we have to find solutions on our own, we have to make an assessment of what we have in the area of not just natural resources, but human resources on the planet, on the continent and off the continent. Then we'll never solve the problem. You know, Zimbabwe today, because of sanctions, Zimbabwe now produces enough wheat to feed itself to the point where they're getting ready to export wheat. Why? Because of sanctions. Nobody will sell to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think if we get to the point where we say, you know what if we treated ourselves as though we were sanctioned? What can we do to solve our own problems? And tell those people who want the resources, if you want the resources, you have to come and actually wage war against us the conventional way and come and attack us and stop pretending. That's my problem I have.
I don't know who that brother is, but I like that brother. He has understanding, and shout out to him for mentioning Till Ministries and others. As he said, unless we come together, ain't nobody gonna help the African. Ain't nobody gonna help us. And one of the issues is some of these Israelites say, I'm not African. Like I said in the beginning, if you ain't African, you ain't Israel. Notice they always go to the African history to prove their identity. They don't go to the Native American Indian history. They don't go to the Mexican history to prove that they're Israel. They go to the African history to prove that they're Israel. Don't make no sense. I don't know what the agenda or the motive behind all of that is. But I think part of it is to cause confusion, which causes disunity. But things are changing. Israel, and I'm talking about the Africa, sub-Saharan African nations, are calling us home. But hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. See, when you dumb it in the doorknob, you can't see what's right before your eyes. Every prophecy is coming to pass with the scattered, or what they call the diaspora, and with those on the continent. Every biblical prophecy is coming to pass concerning the Negro. Yeah, you even have some Gentiles admitting who we are. But then some of them got the nerve to try to tell us we ain't living right. One little video clip I saw, the little country man say, yeah, I'm a Gentile and I don't eat no pork and y'all eat pork. I'm a Gentile and y'all be observing them holidays and I don't observe them holidays. How come y'all don't be doing like at least what I'm doing and I'm a Gentile? Oh, trying to make yourself better. You never even learned all that till you started listening to Israel. You ain't know nothing about the holidays until you started listening to Israelites. You ain't know nothing about eating pork because you was up there in Christianity until you started listening to Israelites. Now you want to say for those, and I'm assuming because you never made a distinction, those who are not awakened are eating pork. Those who are not awakened are the ones celebrating holidays. See, that's the nerve they got. They watch our shows, they watch our channels, they hide in the background and don't say a lick. And then got the nerve to judge our people who haven't awakened yet. The nerve. You just stopped eating pork. You just stopped eating them pig feet. You just stopped celebrating Christmas. Here's the thing. This war gonna be hard. It's gonna be real, and it's going to be quick. In 1 hour, Babylon falls. I personally don't think that time frame is too far away. some kind of way, some of us gonna make it out. But there's going to be a lot of casualties as well. See, you're not going to hear this other places. Why? Because they want your money. They want you to join their conferences. They want you to join their churches or their ministries. They want you to say, hey, Pastor. Hey, Moray. I don't care about none of that. I'm trying to survive to make it back to the land so that I can enjoy the rest of my life, because I'm at the midway point. I want to be able to enjoy real food and clean water and clean air and not worry about my life every time I cross the street or drive down the road. I want to be able to not have to look behind me because they always plotting to take me and my family out. I want to enjoy the rest of my days with my people and praising Yahuwah. I want to have my people come to the barbecue with nobody else there. I want to have peace of mind because we're living under the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, not for salvation, but as a light for direction and holy living. I don't think we have a lot of time. Well, there go Jacob again. He's setting times and places and events, blah, blah, blah. And I ain't never did that in the past, but that's what they say. There you go again, predicting we're going to be out of here soon. Well, that's what I think. I ain't give you a time. Soon is relative. But if you look at the signs, if you look at the judgments, if you look at what we've been teaching before all of this even started, what we've been teaching is happening right before your eyes. But one thing don't try to tell me this and tell me that, and you believe this and you believe that, and you ain't ever watched my videos and expect me to comment on something that you just made a comment off of a single verse with no research. Don't expect it. Oh, but Jacob, I watched all your videos. No, you didn't. I hear that so many times, and then they ask these questions. I say, no, you didn't. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying to you. You ain't got to agree. I ain't say you got to agree. I'm just saying, don't expect me to comment on stuff and you ain't watched my videos. That's all I'm saying. Don't ask me no questions about stuff I already covered. Certain people got a habit of doing that stuff and putting words in my mouth I never said, or putting words in my mouth without context. And now for the people out there who are going to say, Jacob, I'm tired of you being in the morning, then go watch and listen to somebody else. Because I won't be in moan when I won't be in moan. You got a problem with it? I got work to do. The time is short. People going to hell, and a lot of people ain't going to be here tomorrow. You know how many people not here after the lollipop? You know how many people no longer here who dropped the heart attacks and stuff? I got work to do. I got to do it while I can. I got to tell people to repent. I got to tell people to turn away from the alphabets, else you're going to hell. I know ain't nobody tell you that. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I hope that's a joking question. Do I believe in the 400-year prophecy? I hope that's a joke. I hope that's a joke. Yeah. I'm working on my temperament. I'm working on ignoring stuff that has no consequence. I'm working on being focused on the family and on Yah's agenda. I'm working on not letting people pull me off my assignment. I tell you some stuff, man. But here's the thing. I've been watching. I'm going to try to wrap this up. But I've been watching that there's a lot of people who not warning about the dangers of living in this world today. They act like all things remain the same since the fathers fell asleep. I'm watching how a lot of people don't care that a lot of people are caught up in certain lifestyles and they might go into eternity without the Messiah. I'm watching people who say love, 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 but they're not trying to help nobody. They ain't trying to save nobody. They're not trying to warn nobody. I have a problem with people who say they for the family and don't warn the family to turn away from their wicked ways and to be truthful and honest, because Father, y'all gonna judge every liar. I got a problem with people who can't see that there's a knife to their throats and to the throats of all humanity at this moment in time. I have a problem when nobody's warning about the false prophets. I have a problem when all you can do is focus on me and what I teach and why you think is wrong, but you ain't trying to save no souls. You ain't trying to warn them to flee from the wrath to come. You ain't warning them that the world is already in World War III and many people might be gone at midnight. You don't know, but you can see it on the horizon. I have a problem that all you care about is what the Israelites do. I have a problem that you don't care that people dying every day without Christ. I have a problem with some of y'all. Well, fam, that's all I got. I thank y'all who do support this ministry and who love this ministry, because y'all help me keep things going and keep me stable and focused. When I see my people waking up to who they are and returning back to the Messiah, that brings joy to my heart. When I see the husband turning back to the wife and the wife back to the husband, that brings joy to my heart. When I see the kids turn and honor their fathers and mothers, that brings joy to my heart. When I see that our children are leaving the sinful ways of Babylon, that brings joy to my heart. I know I'm a fighter. I told y'all I was raised that way. But now I'm fighting for the Most High. And I'm not going to compromise for no filthy lucre. Don't want it. Whatever the Most High bless me with, I'll take. Anything more than that, I don't want. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. If you love what we do, you can support this ministry by becoming a patron or giving by Cash App. You saw the banner scrolling down below earlier. You also can support this ministry, excuse me, by going to giftgivingforall.com and getting your hoodies and your t-shirts and your mugs and stuff like that. If you want it, you ain't got to get it. You got free will. Do as you will. But I'm going to say this. Love one another and support one another and stand for Israel. Don't let nobody make you feel like you nothing or that you sinning because you love your people and you support your people. What person on the history of this planet does not support their family before others? That's where I'm at. So, fam, please support this ministry if God put it on your heart, Father, y'all put it on your heart, and also support the Dry Bones Project.